All right. Better late than never, as always, here on SHN. Rob Pipp here alongside my good friend Michael Francis. Welcome to the second edition of SHN Gridiron, presented by Georgetown Jewelry. We are live in the Georgetown Jewelry broadcast studio. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday night. Michael, I'm going to get started by saying nothing related to football. I am very hungry.
Well, I agree with you, buddy. I'm getting there, too.
Well, we just had a great Georgetown Eagle Nation coaches show tonight in Georgetown. It was decals with dads. We do that. This is our third year doing that in the locker room, actually. So what happens, it's really cool. After the kids get out of practice, the dads are all lined up in the halls. As the kids leave the facility, they high-five their dads. The dads go in. They put decals on the helmets. Kids that don't have dads, there's someone there to put their decals on as well. It's just a tremendous opportunity and something that I really think a lot of programs should emulate. It's really cool. Have you heard of that before, Michael?
Not with other school districts. I noticed that Eastview also did something very similar to where they had kind of a dads with decals. They came in and were able to put the decals on the helmets for the players, and it just builds a sense of community within the schools.
It does. Well, we're excited here on SHN because we have a lot going on this fall. My mind is just racing right now, Michael, because literally things are just flashing as we are here in the launch week of football. Can you believe that football is already starting here in Central Texas, man?
I am so super excited about it. All the build-up and everything crescendoing at this moment this week. You have a very exciting game, which SHN will be broadcasting tomorrow night, the Taco Shack Bowl between the Anderson Trojans and the McCallum Knights. That's going to be a phenomenal game. It always is. It's going to be played at the storied House Park in downtown Austin. And if you've never had the opportunity to go to House Park and watch a football game, you get the view of downtown Austin. You see the state capitol, all of the high-rises that are to the south of the stadium there along South Lamar. It is a beautiful venue to play in, Rob.
And you've broadcasted a few games, haven't you, on Thursday night with us, Michael? I feel like
I have, yes.
Rob, over there at House Park.
Carl and I both broadcasted a couple of AISD games there last year, and between Austin High Maroons and the Hayes Rebels. That was one of the most outstanding games of Thursday night football on SHN Sports last year. A great ball game between those two clubs.
Well, as you know, here on SHN, we always say, never. What is it? Never late. What is the old phrase, Michael?
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment.
Better late than never.
Better late than never, yeah. Today we were tremendously blessed because we had another sponsor come on board that's going to open up some doors for us and, more importantly, give an opportunity to a man that I consider a good friend. If this school comes on board, I don't want to say which one it is, but if they come on board, it's going to give this good friend of mine an opportunity to broadcast, which he is awesome. He's been broadcasting for years. So we're literally hoping and praying that this school comes on board. We already have a sponsor lined up, so no charge to them. We've already got it in motion. We just need them to give the okay, and then he'll be broadcasting this fall a very well-recognized school here in Central Texas. So we're hoping and praying for that opportunity. But, everything is just – I said it as we came on. It's coming together right here, right at the last minute, even though we've been preparing for months, Michael. And I got to ask you, my friend, what are you most excited about this fall? Because there's a lot going on, buddy.
Gosh, where do you go? You've got college football here in Austin. Another great ball game. Well, I say great. It's going on tomorrow, and that's Texas State versus Texas A&M at Kyle Field. A local program in Texas State looking under Jake Spavital, a first-year head coach for the Bobcats, and will be taking on the Aggies tomorrow. So, you got that coming up. You got UT versus Louisiana Tech, and the following week, LSU will be in town to take on the Longhorns. So we've got a lot of good football aside from the amazing high school football that you see in the Austin Syntex area. Austin is becoming a second-to-none venue for Texas high school football. You've got perennial winners in Liberty Hill, Lake Travis. Granger is projected to do very well this year within their district and knock off a perennial district champion. So we're looking at some good things. I know where you're going with that, my friend.
With the Granger. Puddin'.
Yeah, absolutely. Puddin'. Our good friend Travis Sessoms.
Travis, if you're watching, Puddin'. Come on, Puddin'.
Come on, Puddin'.
I wanted to say this, Michael. The opportunities that we're able to bring is so tremendous, and we're so thankful. We don't ever take it for granted. To those schools like a Granger that would never get coverage before, we're able to do that,
right.
and it's because of the community and the fine folks there in Granger, Texas.
Well, you and I have both had the privilege to broadcast large classification football games, get to go to the nice press boxes and all of that. But the opportunities that you get with small town Texas football teams, there's just something about the atmosphere of walking in to a small town high school football where the whole town is there on a Friday night. The atmosphere is just second to none. Towns like Jarrell, Granger, you're looking at towns like that we've been a part of, and they have a great following when they make the playoffs. So just an outstanding atmosphere, and our good friend Doppler Dave,
who we talked to last
week, had the opportunity to work with him through Granger's playoffs, and he just could not stop going on about that small town atmosphere and what it brings to Texas high school football.
Well, it does, and our goal and our mission has always been to help empower schools and organizations to promote their student athletes and events. That's what we do here on SHN. Tonight, we have got quite a lineup. We're very excited. Who's on the line? I'll bring him on here in just a minute. Scotty Martin, the voice of the Cedar Creek Eagles. Our good friend Shawn Clynch, the former new sports anchor over at KView Television. And then Coach Amos Davidson, the head coach of the Jarrell Cougars. You're talking about small towns. There's one that's small, but they are growing. And what an opportunity tonight to talk to head coach Amos Davidson. Really looking forward to that. Well, as we do talk about new schools here on the SHN Sports Network, we talked last week how blessed we are to bring on Cedar Creek, to bring on Hutto, many other schools throughout the Central Texas area. One of those new network partners this season, and that's what this show is about highlighting upcoming football here on not only SHN but throughout the network. But tonight, we've got a very special guest who's on the line with us now, Mr. Scotty Martin, the voice of the Cedar Creek Eagles. Scotty, can you hear us out there tonight?
I certainly can, and thanks for having me.
Hey, Scotty, you bet, man. And Pete Riefel was already messaging us a while ago. I guess, we were trying to get this bad boy cranking at right at 8:30. But, here on SHN, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get it going. And Pete was wondering, he's like, is this thing on? Pete, we are on now. Scotty's on the phone for Cedar Creek. So, Scotty, tell Pete hello and tell him to take it easy out there, man.
Yeah, that if you know Pete Riefel very long, you know that's him in a nutshell. He does tend to panic if it's not perfect.
Well, Pete Riefel, I was saying Riefel. Pete Riefel. Is it Riefel or Riefel?
It can go either way.
All right. Well,
I always call him Rifle because I call him Pistol.
Okay.
So he's Pistol Pete Rifle or me.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure. I don't want Pete to get mad at us out there. Well, Scotty, man, I appreciate you. You work hard during the week with your job. You take care of folks all day, and then at night, on Friday nights, you're out there. You're supporting Cedar Creek. Now, here's the cool thing, though, man, and I want folks to know this. You live here in Georgetown, and you were driving all the way over there to the Bastrop area to Cedar Creek. Talk about how much that community and those kids mean to you.
It's really been a blessing. I got into this this will be going on my fourth season now as a help to Pete. Pete kind of put the word out saying, hey, I could really use somebody that knows the game of football that I can bounce off of and give me some analysis to the game. And at the time I was living in Lockhart, so I've never actually lived or been associated with Cedar Creek up until that point. So I came to work there with the Creek broadcast, again, 3 years ago, and I immediately just felt at home. I clicked with Pete. I clicked with the coaching staff and the community and the fans, it's just been a blessing for me.
Well, and you're coming off of normally doing color, working with Pete. Pete, by the way, said it is rifle, but we'll allow rifle also because that's your little thing with him. but
Perfect.
Man, talking about a community and on SHN, of course, I do a lot of the Georgetown games. I've been doing it for 5 years. We're the Eagles. You guys are the Eagles. We always call it the Battle of the Birds, man. What's your thought on that?
No, that's right. That's right. Matter of fact, it was kind of, if I remember right, you guys helped us out with our first tunnel. It was one of the your tunnels that y'all had retired. It was our first tunnel.
Wow, I had no clue. See, I'm already learning here, having you guys on the network. We're already learning, Michael.
Right.
There you go.
Well, Scotty, talk a little bit about this year. Cedar Creek, a 5A school there in the Bastrop area, a wonderful community. Talk a little bit about this year, what you're looking forward to most, and what you're most excited about with this team.
It's going to be a really interesting year. It's Coach Edwards' fourth year, and it's the first time we've had a continuous coach for that long. So kind of growing that system and that his mantra in that community, whether it being junior high and then down into the younger ranks, it's starting to show some fruition here. We've got 10 returning starters on defense this year, and we've never had anything close to that before. And a good bit of those are seniors that are returning. So we look to have a really, really good defensive year. We've got a couple of real standout players on defense, Alfred Collins and Cade Edwards both. Alfred Collins has picked up recruiting from Alabama, Texas A&M. I mean, the list goes on and on about the kid. He's just a phenomenal kid, a great human being, does the right thing in the classroom, just a stellar kid. And then Cade Edwards, of course, is Coach Edwards' son, probably the most underrated player in Central Texas. He's been a defensive MVP a couple of times. I think he had about 125 tackles last year on the season. So he's just a stellar kid again. So defense looks very, very strong for Cedar Creek this year, and we're really excited to see what we can do.
Well, and as we talk more here with Scotty Martin, the voice of the Cedar Creek Eagles, Scotty, talk a little bit about your role now. I know we talked a little bit earlier that you were doing color, now transitioning over to the play-by-play side of things. What are you looking forward to on that end of things, Scotty?
I tell you, I'm a little nervous to tell you the truth. I've always had Pete there, and Pete is so good at what he does. But he's taken a bigger role in the band. He's taken a leadership role. He's got a couple of kids in the band. He's always had a child in band. He had 3 last year, and then his oldest has gone on to UTSA. But now he's got a set of twins, and they're very, very phenomenal musicians. And so Pete has taken a step down from the play-by-play and is going to take a more active role in leading and helping gain the funds and things that the band needs. So with that being said, he has transferred that role to me to take over the play-by-play, and so really it's pretty nerve-wracking for me. Actually, I've only called one complete game play-by-play when Pete had a shift he had to work, but I've been in the game my entire life. I've played since I was a kid. I've got coaches I've got family members that are collegiate coaches, so football's been in my blood forever. It's just it's kind of second nature to me.
Well, we appreciate you, the Cedar Creek family, this year for joining the SHN Sports Broadcast Network. Just to give folks out there a little bit of idea, you'll be able to catch those audio calls all season long, all home and away games. Now, that's about with traffic, how far is that drive for you from here in Georgetown over to Cedar Creek, Scotty?
It's about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on traffic.
Oh, man. So when you talk about a guy who is dedicated and loves a community, that is Scotty Martin and the Cedar Creek Eagles. Scotty, appreciate you. I got a couple of other questions here as well. This year, of course, as we've said, Cedar Creek on the network. We'll have all those games right here on SHN Sports. For you, talk about the community of Cedar Creek, and specifically in that Bastrop area with Cedar Creek High School, because it's a 5A school, but it's got a very small-town feel to it still.
It does. It's a really neat little community because when you think of a Texas 5A school, you're thinking, wow, it must be this bustling city or this, this and that. It's really not. You go to Cedar Creek and you'd almost drive right through it. And I think about it before you get into the town of Bastrop. It's kind of it's the western outlying area of Bastrop County. And it's just a really neat little community. Everybody knows everybody. You stop at the store and you can't go anywhere in that town with Pete and not have to stop and talk 2 or 3 times. Everybody knows Pete because he's really grown up and fostered this program and fostered the Creek broadcast there in Cedar Creek and Bastrop. So it is a really neat little community.
You know what I'm going to miss this year, and of course with the redistricting, we don't play, at least Georgetown, what I'm talking about. You guys are in 13-5A now. We don't play you in football. Of course, in the other sports, basketball, baseball, still in our district. But in football, you're not playing a Georgetown team anymore. That was a fun trip for the Eagle fans. Is that something that you're going to miss? You know, we maybe with the redistricting next year, we'll see if that comes back into play, but I don't know the answer to that, Scotty.
You know, it was always a tough challenge for us. You know, Georgetown is such a great program, and we were kind of in that early infant stage and not really as big a student base as some of the schools we play. But, you know, Coach Edwards does a fantastic job with what he has. And we still come up and see Eastview and get to tour Georgetown and enjoy the atmosphere and the stadium that Georgetown has is just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal facilities, and we've got really good facilities for where we're at as well. We don't hold our head down for anything. The guys out at the Bastrop Independent School District Memorial Stadium is a pretty state-of-the-art facility. But, yeah, we enjoy coming to Georgetown, and luckily we still get to with Eastview.
Now, I've got a picture here on I pulled it off your Facebook. I hope you don't mind. It's with you and a number 78. I bet that's your son. And that may have been –
That was my –
And
yep.
that's many years ago, right?
2 years ago, yeah. He kind of hung up football as a freshman. No, that's his freshman year. So he hung up as a freshman. Decided to pursue some other avenues. Big agriculture, kind of going to go to school and wants to pursue agriculture in his life. And he loves football. He's standing outside. He wishes he was in the room with me here talking to you because he loves it. He comes up and broadcasts a lot of games with me, and if there's a game on TV, me and him are watching it. But yeah, that's my son.
So is he going to be in the booth with you any this year?
He might, yeah, depending on his work schedule. And he's an officer with the FFA, so kind of depends on his schedule and taking care of animals. He's got a full load, but he definitely wants to, and he probably will, yeah.
Okay, so I got a question for you, Scotty. My kids went to Rouse High School, and Rouse was an alpha school where they started off with a freshman-only class and until they blossomed into a full senior high school. And we went at Rouse. We went through the growing pains of kind of being the whipping boy of everybody in the district. You know, you had those growing pains of just getting shellacked by good quality teams like Cedar Park and Vista Ridge, Lake Travis, along the way that just dominated. Now, what does it mean with Cedar Creek? What does it mean to you and the community as Cedar Creek has come into their own after having gone through those lean years and a cross-town rivalry with Bastrop?
It means a lot, and I give all the credit to Coach Edwards, man. He really stepped up, and he has done a great job, and that's what we needed. You know, we started, again, like you're talking about, 2010, I think it was. We started with a freshman, sophomore only, and it's just kind of, you know, rolled since then. And 4 years ago, Coach Edwards took over the program, and he brought a spark and I don't really know how to say it. Just you feel at home when you talk to Coach Edwards, and you go in and you sit in his office. He makes you feel welcome. The whole team is they're just a class act, and he's done such a good job. So, yeah, it's good. It's good to see us, you know, and we kind of took that turned that page, as you will, last year. We really started seeing some inroads as to his system and the kids believing in the system and doing everything. We started getting some wins and some dominant wins on top of that. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this season.
Yeah, it really makes for a difference when you start to come into your own and then you become a recognized power within the district and the Austin Central Texas area as a legitimate football program.
You do. Continuity is everything, and that's what Coach Edwards has done. He's brought continuity to the Creek Nation.
Awesome. Well, Scotty, we appreciate you. Any final remarks on the upcoming season? Again, we're excited to have you guys. We are so blessed to have the Cedar Creek community now here on SHN. Final thoughts from you, Scotty, before we let you hit the Z's and get back up at 4:30 on the Rooster Crows, buddy.
Just happy to be here. We love the platform and super excited. And you will get to hear Pete some this year. He's going to step in and do the Brenham game for us. We can't me and my team cannot make it, or my team and I cannot make it to Brenham. So you're going to hear that sweet, sultry voice of Pistol Pete Rifle on the Brenham game.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Scotty. Again, thank you for all that you're doing this season. Most importantly, thank you for helping to bring exposure to these kids at Cedar Creek. Now, here's something else. If for those of you out there watching and listening right now on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Here's something exciting, and Scotty, you know about this. On Friday from 6 p.m. to midnight, and we'll talk to Steven a little bit later who's in studio with us, but it is the new SHN Football Friday program. So, Scotty, call into that program and talk to our guys after the games. Will you do that for us?
I'd be happy to.
Awesome. We appreciate you, buddy. Have a good night. God bless you, man.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Well, once again, that was Scotty Martin, the voice of the Cedar Creek Eagles. Again, Michael, just so many wonderful folks here with the SHN family and now just the SHN network family, I guess we could call it.
Right.
They have their own equipment, their own broadcast. They've got their own sponsors. They've taken care of things all on their own, which has been amazing, Michael.
It has, and bringing them on board and giving them a platform that they've may never had before, or maybe they used High School Cube, and that went away with NFHS, and you had to start paying a subscription fee. But you have given an opportunity to these programs to come in at no cost and be a part of the SHN network and have their games archived on YouTube. So it's what a great opportunity to have them on board with us.
Let's look at it real quick. You've got the book open here. Talk about, Michael, as we get lined up for our next caller here in a minute, just going over that 13-5A here, some of what Dave Campbell, Texas football, has got predicted this season.
Well, Dave Campbell, they have become the poll for the state of Texas. So, you had these kind of high school coaches poll, but now they're really Dave Campbell's Texas football has become the official high school ranking system for the state of Texas. And, of course, they put out a magazine every year of comprehensive for Texas high school football. Even back when I was playing, I would go every year and get that. And I still have a couple of copies at the house that I was part of. And, every schoolboy looks to see his name in here, and that's a fun part of it. But in District 13-5A, Division II, and that does contain the Cedar Creek Eagles, was Scotty Martin that we just spoke with. The way that Dave Campbell Texas football has it projected, they have Brenham actually winning the district, followed by Leander Glenn, Bastrop, and Georgetown Eastview rounding out the top four, and that'll be your playoff group right there. That will stop at 4. Elgin to finish 5th, and Bastrop Cedar Creek at 6th, and Marble Falls and Pflugerville Weiss will round out the district based on these preseason projections. But you and I know things happen throughout the season. Injuries happen. Teams rise up that weren't suspected of being as good as what they are. And it all just kind of comes together, and you'll have surprise teams rise to the top. Leander Glenn last year was a big surprise as they entered their first year in the 5A classification as a varsity program. And what an outstanding job they did. A 3-way tie last year for the district championship between Eastview, Leander Glenn, and Brenham.
Yeah, all three of those, and with that shifting in the district, I miss seeing some of those rivalries, man, that Georgetown had. But they've made it a little more fair now, because you would have some schools dominating, blowing away other schools. Now a little bit more fair again. We'll see what happens again coming up, this next year with the new redistricting. So
the realignment will come out after the first of the year, and some, like Cedar Park, may end up moving up in classification to 6A. They're well over 2,000 in their student population, and we may see schools like Leander actually drop down in classification. So they may drop down to the 5A class.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But while we wait and see, we got plenty of time. That's going to be next year. We've got plenty of time to wait and see. Right now, honored to bring on someone who knows this area very well, the Austin, Texas area. In fact, he was born and raised in Austin. Spent a lot of time. You may have even seen him on TV for many years. Our good friend, Mr. Shawn Clynch. Shawn, welcome back to broadcasting, buddy. We knew you couldn't stay away long.
Hey, I'm polishing off cobwebs as we speak. It's been a while since I've utilized whatever talent that I have remaining in this body of mine. But, man, I really appreciate the invite. And I have to be honest, I haven't brushed up on I have knowledge of the area programs, but you guys may have to navigate me a little bit, but I do have a feel of what we should probably expect this high school football season.
Well, you're going to be on some broadcasts this season, calling color analysts for the McNeil Mavericks. So, let's start with that. Talk a little bit about how excited are you being able to call some football this season. Have you ever done that, Shawn?
The only thing that I have called, I've never done play-by-play, which this is going to suit me perfectly in the color role. And it's, I had a couple of people just randomly approach me, and I was flattered, and one of which was Rick Epstein, and he is growing his network with the Horn Webcast, with the links of the Horn Webcast network, where there's going to be links on the 104.9 The Horn's website, and he proposed this opportunity, and it was for McNeil Mavericks, as you guys mentioned, all their games, excuse me, and color with one of the better voices in the area. There's a lot of talented people, including the Rob Hipp, who is amazing, but Johnny Baez, I get to team up with him, and he has a tremendous amount of experience, and we met up at House Park last week, and we discussed all the opportunities that we have ahead of us for this upcoming football season. So I'm flattered, and the only color I can remember was back in college, we had to do it. I had to do it for Stephen F. Austin softball.
There you go, man. So I know you're an SFA big time guy, man. We've talked about this because I'm a big Baylor fan, and there was a game there not too long ago that SFA played, and I was hoping that they didn't play Baylor, but they were playing someone else in the Big 12, I believe, and I was really hoping that team would beat SFA, and I think they did, Shawn. And I hate to tell you that, but I know that you love them.
Yeah, that did happen, but we did beat Baylor in basketball.
Let's don't talk about that, though. That's what I was trying to skirt that. That's why I was kind of misleading the response. I was trying to skirt that, Shawn. We don't want to talk about that, man.
The Lumberjacks chopped down the Bears.
I believe I sent you a photo from the Farrell Center that night, just to let you know in case you were not aware.
I think someone had called that the Feral Cat Center after that, and I didn't really like that. I don't like the feral cats. I don't even know where that came from.
I'm disappointed that I didn't think of that. That's brilliant, actually.
Well, Shawn, talking a little bit more just about you. You grew up in the Austin area, of course. A lot of folks know you. You did such amazing work alongside Stacy Sladen and Mike Barnes over at KVU for so long. Your passion for sports is undeniable. And just talk a little bit about growing up in Austin and what high school football has meant to you personally.
First of all, thanks for the compliments, man. It's been a total blessing to have been able to cap off what I think was a fun, amazing career at home, in hometown area, to finish it off in the local community here. But high school football, growing up, I went to Anderson, and I knew I was going to be a Trojan. But, I was really, when I started realizing what high school football was like, Sad Jackson was a beast of a running back at Manor High School. We would follow him, and through KVU's Friday Football Fever back then, little did I know what would occur. I would be a part of that. But there are so many names that have come through here. All the Shedd brothers in the inner city Austin, Johnston High School. I saw all those great Reagan teams. I remember 86 or 87 Reagan, I believe, went to the state quarterfinals or semifinals. I think they lost to Lamarck. The Westlake teams. Our senior year, we were in the same district in 1990 as Westlake and Reagan, both top 10 in the state. And, of course, that year, Westlake played for the 4A state title against Wilmer Hutchins. And Reagan, I think, bowed out in the third or fourth round. But we were – and when we also had Johnston that year, which is now East oh, my gosh, how am I drawing a blank? They changed the name of the school. But Johnston that year was a tremendous program back before they had the overtime rules. they had 3 running backs that year that went over 1,000 yards. I remember in all of them, and we played them in a non-district game because we were 4A, and Johnston was the top classification back then at 5A, and they lost to Killeen that year at 90, and they lost on penetrations. And Killeen went on and won the state championship that year. And, you know, there's been so many great traditions here. And, you know, as one thing that's inevitable is change. And, you know, AISD football has changed immensely. And the Anderson-McCallum rivalry has always been a good rivalry. Now it's so much better on another level. And that rivalry, as you guys know, the Taco Shack Bowl is tomorrow, House Park. And I know somebody that's going to be on the sidelines, and I think you're talking to him right now.
Wait, you're going to be on the sidelines for that game?
Yeah, they're going to let me suit up. I'm just
wow.
kidding.
Well, here's the deal. You may not know this, but on SHN, we have a deal with Austin ISD where we have been able to provide at no charge, thanks to the generous support of many area companies, and this year it's presented by none other than Georgetown Jewelry, which is
beautiful.
Our presenting sponsor here. AISD Thursday Night Football presented by Georgetown Jewelry. Nothing on our friends at KXAN, KBVO. Great folks there. I love what they do. But I'm going to tell you this. We're going to be out there with 4 cameras tomorrow night, bringing what I believe is going to be the most comprehensive coverage of that game. Sideline reporting, 4 camera angles, all live video because it's Thursday night. That is our AISD Thursday night game of the week. And if you're on a sideline, we're going to have to interview you, man. See, that's what happens.
You know what? First of all, I have to give you many congratulations on the continued growth of what you're achieving here. And you and Rick Epstein have done a phenomenal job for high school sports here in the Austin area, the massive metropolitan area it has become. I can't wait to see you guys, man. I really can. It's all part of it, and it's Thursday night games will be my only option because of my commitment to Rick and Horns Webcast Network and the McMill Mavs and Howard McMahon with the Mavericks football program. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about seeing you guys tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. Man, I had no idea, Shawn, that you would be able to I should have asked you because we had a spot for you at Georgetown, buddy. The Eagles. Man. You know how much you love Georgetown too, man. Come on.
Hey, the Georgetown community, I love Georgetown. I don't know what it is. I've always had this affection for Georgetown. I really have. And especially the downtown square, the Georgetown Eagles athletic programs, second to none. And in Eastview, you know, what they have accomplished here in the short period of time. And this is people there. I mean, the people in Georgetown are phenomenal, and they have showed – I don't know what I've done to deserve it, but they have been nothing but accommodating to me and treated me like one member of their families. It's just every time I had an assignment in Georgetown, I look forward to it, and sometimes I would stay too long.
Hey, that's all right. You're always welcome, man. Well, I wanted to tell you, you've mentioned what we've done here with high school football, and it's not us. It's everybody together, as you said, man. And at the end of the day, and I say this over and over and over, Shawn, and you've known me long enough now to know,
yes.
We represent promoting these kids. First and foremost, above everything else, it's about promoting these kids and helping them get to the next level. That's what we do at SHN, man. And Michael was talking about it earlier, Shawn, the opportunity to bring exposure to some of the 3A and 2A schools, because the big schools get a lot of attention, and we love them, and we like to cover them.
Yeah.
But those kids at 2A and 3A, even 6-man, they deserve the attention too, and that's really, at the end of the day, if we could go out there and start broadcasting 6-man, 2A and 3A all over the place, my goodness, there's kids that are not getting the exposure just because they're from a small school, Shawn?
Right, and it's there are so many great communities, and it's you asked me about my love and affection for high school football when it began. Obviously Odessa Permian, when they built that Taj Mahal, what it was back then, the Ratliff Stadium, and the Friday Night Lights, the whole legend of that began, when that book was written and in the movie. And that's what really emphasized what Texas high school football was like when I was growing up, and then becoming an Anderson Trojan. And it's unbelievable what it has become on a national level. And you think of all the small communities like Thorndale, Thrall, You go to Giddings. You can name so many. Liberty Hill, tremendous football communities, and there's so many of them. Other smaller classifications, and even going out to Marble Falls. It's just, I'm bringing back memories right now, and I'm going to miss all of it because these communities made a tremendous impression on me. All the great stories, but I said Thorndale already, but Scott Hawkins, he's the head coach out there, a friend of mine. I think all these coaches are friends of mine. It feels like. That is one of those small schools, those programs everyone should keep an eye on this year. And that's just one of them, one of the many numerous great stories from east of 79. You go out in the hill country, you go down south and north, all the way to Jarrell. Just there's so many programs that I think people, if they had an opportunity to go see the Friday Night Lights in these communities, it is unbelievable.
We've thought about doing a small town tour here. In fact, this year we had that lined up with one of our broadcasters. Unfortunately, he got into an accident and won't be able to broadcast this year. He's doing okay, but we had that lined up through his network, and we were looking forward to that. So we'll definitely try to have it next year. But, that's what it's all about, man. Michael Francis, who's sitting next to me, I don't know if you've had the honor to meet the Francis yet. He is part of our SHN family.
How you doing, Michael?
He's got some questions for you.
Now, I've enjoyed watching your interviews on TV, interviews of different coaches and stuff. But one of the interviews that I really enjoyed was your interview with Coach Jason Dean last year. Tell us about your relationship with Coach Dean.
Well, I remember when I started and he welcomed me in. He's a very smart guy, and he's all like you. Rob said, he is all about those kids and making them better and providing them opportunities and a well-structured program all around. And we developed a good relationship, became a friendship. He let me in his circle of trust and mine as well. And we just developed you've seen his humor. He has great sense of humor, and it's dry. But if you just listen to him talk, you leave every time you leave after your conversation with him, you learn something new, or he provided you with some solid laughter. And he developed that hashtag, and I gave him a hard time, but I know what it means. Hashtag hay hauler.
Right.
Well, that was his thing. Hay hauling.
Wait, now did you
some good guys that work hard?
Did you start the hashtag hay hauler? Was that you, Clynch?
No, that was
okay,
Jason Dean.
I was about to say, man, that was one of the best phrases, man. I thought it came from the legend Shawn Clynch. Man, come on now.
I'm not smart enough to create legendary hashtags.
Hey, well, I do have something to tell you here. My cousin's actually in studio with us, and he wanted me to tell you this because he is a McCallum Knight, and he wanted me to tell you. He said, tell Shawn it's nighttime from a knight to a Trojan.
Wow.
Yeah, he's listening.
Beat Mac, baby. Hey, and that's another thing. I love it. Hey, I don't know who's going to win, but I love to say I love to be biased right here. I had an opportunity, both programs. McCallum has been a very consistent program. What Charlie Taylor did with them 2 years ago was just on another level. An AISD program hasn't done that in forever.
Right.
But Anderson, what Daniel Hunter has done, I just want to, and I'm trying not to be biased here, but
you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry anymore. You can be biased.
I don't have to worry about it. I'm not a member of the media anymore. I'm gonna throw all my loyalties out there. What I've been wanting to say for 7 years, coming out now. What's unique, and I know it's hard to think Anderson being a part of an inner city, but it literally is. Austin ISD. Lil Anderson does a phenomenal job as the AISD athletic director, trying to create diversity and opportunities for all the schools. But what Anderson has done, this senior class this year, is the first senior class of their Little Trojans program that they start. They practice and play at Murkison Middle School, the first senior class, which is a product of that Little Trojans football program, including the quarterback, Carson Groos. And there's quite a few others. And that's why that community, all of a sudden, they had a lot of optimism in Northwest Hills and Austin. And Daniel Hunter created this new. I got to go to it with some of my buddies that who played for Anderson with me. They had that Midnight Madness, and they played on their AstroTurf football field, practice field, with lights at Anderson High School. And I'm not exaggerating. There were well over 500 people there.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard it was an outstanding event. But I will say this is I actually heard from Karsten himself that his last name is actually pronounced Gross. And so
good. I'm friends with his dad, and I can't pronounce it properly.
And so he was being interviewed, and they said, how many times a day do people mess up your last name? And he said, gosh, I can't tell you. He said, I can't count that high.
What he was thinking about saying, Shawn, was it's a grossly amount.
Grossly amount.
Yes.
Well played, my friend. Hey, I got to put this tidbit in there. Karsten Gross. I got it right. There's a possibility that he may be a Stephen F. Austin lumberjack, and I don't have that official information. I just know that he's being recruited by the SFA Lumberjacks.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Awesome, man.
Ain't nothing wrong with being a lumberjack.
No, sir.
Obviously, chopping wood all day.
Shawn, appreciate you being on the line with us. Now, I got two last questions for you.
Yes, sir.
You just finished up fantasy football right before I called you. Tell us about it. How did it go, man?
Let's just say this is I don't know how long you guys have been participating in fantasy football, but this was the longest draft I've ever participated in, an hour and a half. And for an online draft, to me, that's a long time. But I feel like I've got some players that I think I can get a return on my investment for once. I have never finished higher than third in 15 years, and I'm not very happy about that.
You need to turn that around.
Let me give you my what I call it, my roster, and you guys give me a grade. Do we have time for that?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we got all the time in the world. This isn't FM. We're not part of
Oh, that's right.
We're not on an FM network. We can do whatever we want here.
Yeah, no commercial breaks here, buddy.
Oh man, I love it. No commercial breaks. We're not having to pay for bills or anything. I respect this. So here we go. We're going to run down. I got Mahomes, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Julian Edelman, Dede Westbrook, who's from, I believe, Cameron Yo, Jordan Reed, Mark Ingram, the Saints defense, Brett Mayer, the kicker for Dallas. On my bench, Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Kiki Kuti, who is hurt right now for the Texans, but I'm gambling that he is healthy and he will produce heavily. Michael Gallup from Dallas, Jimmy Graham, and the Malcolm Brown, spelled with an L, 2 L's, former Longhorn, as a running back for the Rams on my bench.
Man, that sounds.
What grade would you guys give me?
I'd give you a 95 or above right there. That sounds like a good roster.
I hope you're right, my friend.
I'll give you an 89. I like to keep it. I like to give room for improvement. Should I give you 89?
There's no such thing as perfection ever.
No. Hey, and my cousin, he's off camera right now. We'll bring him on a little bit later, but he's here. Steven Strong. Steven's in the house now.
Hey, Shawn, just want to say I'm probably, out of all these guys up here right now, I'm probably the most experienced in fantasy football. I think it's fair to say that. But I would give you an A-. I think that is
Thank you.
Incredibly solid. There's a lot of upside for sure. It's not fully dependent on upside, but it can be benefited a lot by upside. For example, Gallup, I think, will have maybe a better year than people expect. I think it'll be better than last year. I think their passing game overall just should be more consistent than it was last year. Who can you remind me who your RB1 is? I know you said Dalvin Cook. Was he the?
Yeah, it's Joe Mixon.
Okay, yeah. See, that's probably your weak spot. I mean, Mahomes is going to put up points. Yeah. Baker is great. If on an off week for Mahomes. And Jordan Reed, I will say I've had him on my fantasy team, I think, every year so far, and he never makes a full season, but when he does play, he puts up points. So I think that could be a sleeper if he can avoid a career-ending concussion or something. So
that was sound analysis, and I think you earned yourself a beverage from me for that. I needed that. I needed an esteem booster, to be honest with you.
No, I think you got a lot of potential in your league. Maybe better than third. Dare I say it?
God, I hope so. If I can finish in that top 3 or top 2,
right,
where I can get back the return on the investment, so to speak.
Right, of course.
Well, Shawn, we appreciate you. You were just talking, by the way, Steven, and again, we'll have him on camera here in a little bit. Steven, my cousin, I always have to say that. I love him. He is the new co-host of the inaugural season of hashtag SHN Football Friday alongside the Justin Simmons. So you will be able to catch him every Friday night. We're having a 6-hour live video broadcast right here from the Georgetown Jewelry broadcast studio every Friday night. Dude, he is going, Shawn, from 6 p.m. to midnight. It's all high school football, and we're going to get the fans to tag us content to hashtag SHN Football Friday. It is going to be amazing.
Steven, you and Justin, that's a good team. I know Justin, and that guy puts so much work into his craft, and I know you doing the same as well, and that is awesome, man. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah,
you guys are building so many opportunities.
Yeah, we can't wait for it, and we'll look forward to hearing you call in, too, with your color analysis over at McNeil, maybe. Get some calls
I appreciate that. I'm going to need I don't know how I'm going to I'm not saying I'm 100% prepared yet, but I think in those situations
who is right now?
you just go about the seat of your pants.
Well, here, and Stephen brought up a good point. Yeah, at those games, we're going to be on a post-game show from around 10:30 to midnight. So you are more than welcome to call in every week, every other week, however you want to do it. Call in, tell us about the game. We would love to hear that, Shawn. We'd be honored to have you call in. We'll send you that number that you can call into every week.
Hey, I appreciate that. Since I'll be awake and I don't have to get up the next morning to run pharmaceutical routes on Saturdays, I think that will work out.
All right. Well, be sure to bring some sort of pharmaceutical pills over here that keep these guys awake. All right.
Hey, I'll work on it. I want to sort through my supply since I am a legal drug dealer right now.
Well, Shawn, we appreciate you, man. You have been a tremendous friend to not only to me, but more importantly to SHN, to the Georgetown community, to all of our guys. From the bottom of our hearts, we sincerely appreciate you and everything that you stand for, everything that you represent. Class act, my friend. And one final question: How is Mama Clynch doing, man? I had to ask you, how's Mama Clynch?
Well, that's a good question, man. I think that was a match when you first met her at that garage sale. Anyway, she is currently in the hospital, back in the hospital.
Oh, man.
Hard to hear.
She had a fall after having that the double valve replacement, heart valve, but she's strong, she's eating, she's very sarcastic, which that's good. That personality's there. She just turned 76 this year, and I think since you and I became friends, she's had knee replacement, hip replacement, now 2 valves replaced, and heart valves, that is. And she's doing well. We're going to get her into a skilled nurse facility and back home, and I think within a month.
Well, Shawn, we'll continue to send our thoughts and prayers over to your mom and wish her, well recovery. I did just want to say, I just kind of connected some dots in my head while you were talking. I followed you, of course, over on KVU during all those years and stuff. We ran into each other at HEB off Far West, and now hearing you say that you went to Anderson and all that, it makes sense that you were in that area.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess
it was at the
KVU was over there.
Right?
Yeah. I worked there at the time.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. So I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, the Northwest Hills area, Far West area. KVU was kind of.
Isn't that amazing? You have those moments and you can't really piece it together. Then just hits you, the light bulb goes off automatically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moment.
Yeah, Anderson's that little high school over on Mesa, right?
Yeah. It's that little 6A school.
Right.
They don't have too much room to grow anymore. I wish we would go to 5A.
Right, yeah, that's a big campus over there.
Well, Shawn, I know both of us are probably trying to be a little less biased than we could be for our respective schools that we went to. Do you have any predictions? Obviously, not asking you to pick a winner. Do you think McCallum's ground game can get going, or do you have any thoughts so far or leading up to it?
I honestly think I can see this one being really, honestly, an exciting game.
Yeah.
McCallum's going to impose their will. Anderson's going to deliver some physicality. I honestly think Anderson will end up winning it by 6 to 8 points in the end. But that's what I'm saying. That stadium will be full, should be full. There's tailgating, as you know, and it's quite a scene. It's the way to start it off. It's one of the best games in the state of Texas, has become that, as far as the environment and everything. But I think Anderson wins going away by 6 to 8 points. And I have to tell you guys, I don't know, Stephen, if you remember, there was a really good defensive back who played for Texas A&M in the early 2000s named Terrence Kill.
Mm-hmm.
He was from Lufkin, Texas, where I worked years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he played for the San Diego Chargers, a great defensive back. And he's passed away, I think, in 2005, 06, something like that. Well, two of his nephews play for Anderson.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sweet.
So there's
That's
that
awesome.
little connection. There's always a connection everywhere, it seems like.
The connection never goes away. Shawn, man, we appreciate you. I was off for just a second. That's why I know that we said we were going to hang up with you, but I don't know if you're on the YouTube video, but you talked about Mama Clynch, and we're definitely going to be praying for her, my friend. And I ran inside the house, and I grabbed that radio, buddy, and it's on the desk right now. I'm showing it to our audience, man. And I took care of that radio.
Beautiful.
I got it working, buddy.
That is that was in the hands of my late grandfather, and I couldn't think of any better person to have it than you.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I said, man, I'm going to give it back, and you said no. And I said, I'm going to take care of it. I sprayed her down, and she is working now, buddy. So I appreciate it, buddy.
An old relic that's pretty phenomenal, man, and I know it's in great hands, and you deserve it.
We'll appreciate it. Shawn Clynch, thanks again. We appreciate you. I'm sure that we'll catch up with you throughout the season. We wish you well. We're always praying for you, man. We love what you do for Central Texas and for everybody that you come into contact with. Thank you, Shawn.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys at House Park tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Shawn Clynch on the phone. Once again, we appreciate Shawn and all that he has done throughout Central Texas. What a great interview. I know that we could talk to Shawn literally for hours. I've had him on a couple of radio shows before.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a broad spectrum of knowledge for sports of the Central Texas area, and talking about some of those small schools that he's been out to. What would be cool, Rob, is to be able to get schools like Wimberley, Burnett, a great rivalry between Burnett and Liberty Hill. That would be a great game to put on SHN, or maybe even make a long drive out to Mason, to the Puncher Dome.
The Puncher Dome, man. That would be a fun one.
What a great venue for Texas high school football. And you talk about a perennial program in Mason, Texas. The Punchers are one of the state's best.
Well, Stephen, sitting next to us, we'll get him on camera here before too long, but Stephen, excited about this upcoming season and all the things that you're going to be doing, man. You've been with us since day one, literally.
Yeah, literally. It's been fun to be a part of the ride the last 4 years, and looking forward to all of the possibilities that can come from what we got going on Friday nights. And can't imagine. I don't know. I'm just excited to see what all we can come up with. I think we got a lot of creative minds. Looking forward to getting Justin in here too, and as we get to go to work together, just bring in top-notch coverage of high school football in the area, and doing our part and doing what we can to showcase these kids, whether it's the color guard, the band, the football team, the coaches. It's a entire huge group effort for everyone. So,
well, and when you first started with us, Stephen, you had a chance to work with Jarrell.
Yeah.
That was actually, the first school that was actually the first school that we ever brought onto the broadcast network was the Jarrell Cougars, man.
Yeah.
Even before Georgetown, even though we're based out of Georgetown, we went to Jarrell that first year. Coach Butler was there, and that year they go 10-0.
Yeah, we covered their first scrimmage too over in. Honestly, don't even remember which time.
You and I did the very first SHN broadcast.
Yeah, you did play-by-play, and I did color for their scrimmage as we tested, and it went really well. And then, and then I ended up taking up the reins for the play-by-play for Jarrell that whole season. And, as you said, the great Tony Brown at quarterback for them over there, and they led a whole 10-0 season, and it was fun. It was a great jump into the SHN network and into our coverage for Jarrell.
Well, I didn't want to keep him up too late tonight, but now on the line, joined by another great coach here in Central Texas, a school that I've got a lot of love for, a community that I have a tremendous heart for, the Jarrell Cougars. We are speaking to head coach Amos Davidson, the Jarrell Cougars head football coach. Coach Davidson, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you bet, man. I look forward to talking to you every year, and I apologize. I know that we're calling you late. We got started at about 8:50 or so. We got a new system in here, so thank you for staying up with us, Coach. I hope we're not keeping you up too late, man.
Oh, no problem. I've been watching the broadcast.
Awesome. Well, you told me earlier. You said, "Hey, I'm going to be out." How did the lawn mowing go? Did you get the yard taken care of, Coach?
Not yet. Luckily, I got lights on my lawnmower, so I'll get out there and do it a little bit.
Well, Coach, we're excited. As you probably heard us there when I first called you just a second ago. Jarrell was our very first school here on SHN, and that was before Georgetown, before Eastview. I was born and raised here in Georgetown, but have family up in Jarrell. In fact, was just up there this past week talking to folks, and there are so many new businesses in that community, Coach.
Oh, absolutely. It's growing in a hurry, and houses are going up, businesses are going up. It's I think people tag us as the Little Hutto, and so I think they're expecting the growth to hit here like it did there.
Well, Coach, talk a little bit about your history with Jarrell. A lot of folks there know you. You've been around the area for quite some time. Can you kind of take us back on a journey and how you ended up back here at Jarrell, Coach?
So I came back to Jarrell. It was actually my first job in 2009. Left for a couple of years and came back as a defensive coordinator in 2013. I was a defensive coordinator for 3 years. The first year that you guys broadcasted this was 2015. It was a March scrimmage. We were up in March. And left after the 2015 season, spent a year at Pflugerville-Hendrickson, and then was fortunate enough to get the head job in 2017 and going into my third season now.
Awesome. And so, that community has meant a lot, not just to us at SHN, but to you as well. What are some of the changes that you've seen? You talked about the town growing. I'm sure anytime there's a town growing, that makes more opportunities for student athletes. Talk a little bit about that, Coach.
We're a growing program, and it's not just in football; it's in all our sports. And it's really fun to see the kids coming out and being involved in stuff. And that's really something that we push. Is we still have a small town mentality. We don't want kids to come over and specialize in sports. We want them to be available and have the opportunity to play multiple sports. And so even with the growth, we're trying to keep this small town feel to it and allow these guys to play everything they want to play.
Well, Coach, you've came in, you've done a good job working with these kids. Talk about the culture there at Jarrell, and I know that you guys are going hardcore during practices. The new UIL rule happened this year as well, and I'm sure it affected your school to where it's no longer, just being an athlete. You can get out there and actually do some football in the preseason. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was a good change for us. It allowed us to do some football this summer. And really what I noticed on the coaching side of it was you never really got out of the swing of coaching football. You use the summer, you get 2 hours a week per athlete. It's not per sport, but it's per athlete. And so we were able to get football work all of June and then part of July when we brought the kids back up here. And, it was fun. It was a whole lot more fun doing that than just running through drills every day with them. And, it boosted our attendance this summer. We were averaging right around 50 guys this summer up here working out. And, it was good for the kids and it was good for the coaches.
Well, as the community continues to grow, last year, I know not really the season that Jarrell wanted, but you did get some wins on the board, poised for some more success this year. Talk a little bit about those changes from last year and what we may see this year with some leadership as well on the team. That was a young team, if I'm not mistaken, and now some of these kids getting more opportunities, getting to be more veteran players. Talk a little bit about that, Coach.
Right. Yeah, we got 10 guys returning on offense. I guess Dave Campbell did some kind of study, and I think we were the 5th most improved offense last year, and so we got 10 of those guys back. We don't return as many on defense, but it gives an opportunity for guys to step up and earn those positions. I think getting those 4 wins last year was big, but one of the biggest things that happened for us was the cultural change. You guys have been covering us for years now, and I think y'all have seen kind of the transition. But these guys, I tell people all the time, after the game that we lost to keep us out of the playoffs last year, you could really see it on the kids, and it was disappointing at the time, but from a coach perspective, it was really something that was uplifting for me, because you finally saw it on the kids that it really meant something to them and that they were disappointed, and that's something that we've really tried to build on in the off season. We don't try to harp on them too much about it, but we want them to remember that feeling and carry it kind of as a chip on the shoulder this year.
Well, Coach, Michael Francis sitting next to me. He's covered some small schools. They're our friends in Granger. He's got a question for you.
So last year I had the privilege of broadcasting for Jarrell, and got to go through some of those growing pains that y'all had last year, and unfortunately had some injuries that plagued you over the season, that you had to improvise and create some good offense using backups. And the first person that I met when I came to the very first game to broadcast for y'all was Tookie Mullins.
Yes.
The legend.
Yeah, you can't not meet him.
So it was always interesting that he refers to himself in the third person.
Right. Yeah.
So what does his what does his personality and dealings with the school mean to the Jarrell community and your program?
He's a lifelong supporter of the Jarrell Cougars. I mean, he's a big supporter of mine, but he loves everything Jarrell. He was actually in my office today, and he was apologizing because his wife has got him. I think they got a wedding this weekend, and so he's going to miss our football game. And he was apologizing to me for not being there. And we like to give Took a hard time, but he's at everything Jarrell. If it has to do with Jarrell, not just sports, but he's at the band concerts and everything else. And we want lifelong members of the Jarrell Cougar community, and he's one of them.
When I was there broadcasting, I believe the last home game, Took was in there and he was talking about basketball season about to start up, and he was putting together a big barbecue and wanted me to come up there and partake of it. And he just, he treats you like, or at least he did with me, he treats you like family from the moment that you walked in the door.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He says this is going to be the last show that he's putting on for the tournament. So if you didn't get up here last year, I guess this year is going to be your year.
Right.
Well, Coach Davidson, we appreciate you and your time. I know that you guys are off and rolling. Again, sorry we called so late tonight. Final question. Steven said that if that lawnmower has lights, he'll go mow your lawn. You want to take him up on it? No charge, he said.
Absolutely. If he wants to come on up, I'll take it.
Well, we're tremendously blessed. Coach, both of these guys to my right actually have called Jarrell football. Steven started our first year here at SHN. Michael last year. This year, you guys are getting a really great treat calling Jarrell football, a gentleman by the name of Wally Harmon, who actually works for Austin Police Department. So we're excited. He'll be up there in Whitney with you guys on Friday. So he's going to make the journey up to Whitney, and we'll have all of those audio broadcasts all season long, Coach.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys coming up and doing our games, and it gives the people in our community a chance to listen when they can't make it. And this weekend's a long trip, so we really do appreciate you guys and everything y'all do for us.
Well, we appreciate you, Coach. Again, got a heart for the Jarrell community. Just love that community, love the people. Before we let you go, who would you like to say hello to tonight, Coach? I'm gonna give you an opportunity for a shout out, Coach.
Well, I think all of my family is listening in on the broadcast, and so I think there's a big number of those viewers is my family. So I'll just say hi to my family.
Awesome. We appreciate you, Coach. Looking forward to the upcoming season. A friend of SHN and an awesome, amazing coach and an outstanding person. Thank you, Coach Davidson.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Yes, sir. Good night. God bless. Boy, you talk about just a community full of great people, Michael, and I know I say things over and over a lot, but it's because I like to hammer those points home. That community, there is something tremendously special about Jarrell, Texas. Even though I was born and raised here, and I'm a diehard blue bleeder, if you want to say that, hey, Jarrell's blue too.
Right,
I love that community, man. It's a unique place, and you were there, all of last year, Michael, and got to see that and experience it.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity in the different towns that you go into. They're just as friendly as can be. I would probably say the two friendliest places that we went to last year were Rockdale and Cameron. Outstanding. They treated you with hospitality when you walked in, and it's just a great atmosphere, and they were very welcoming to Jarrell and the Jarrell community. And Jarrell's got a special place in your heart, with the tornado that went through there and the memorial that you spoke of, and what that all means to you from that community.
Yeah, a lot of wonderful people, a lot of good friends. Just love those people, man, and they have built and grown so strong over the years, and just something phenomenal. You go to those games, and here's the thing too. When I go back. And look at it, and I say, I bleed blue, Georgetown blue too, but when I was actually a year out of high school, I had a friend that ran football at Jarrell. He's a running back. I was a year older than him, so his senior year, I went to pretty much every game he had, and there was something so special about those games. It reminded me of the old Georgetown. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new Georgetown, but the old Georgetown, Jarrell reminded me of that, because every single person in town went to the football game, literally turned off all the lights and went to the game.
Right.
And that's when I went to Jarrell, I said, man, this is awesome. And there was nobody running around. They were all focused, screaming, yelling. It was crazy. Now, we see that in Georgetown, don't get me wrong, but, the town has grown and it's gotten bigger. But, excited about this season. At first, I was worried that we wouldn't be able to cover them this year, because with our football programs, we try very hard not to charge the schools. And with the way Carl and I founded SHN, especially the small schools, they don't have a budget for that. So we depend heavily on community support. And friends such as Tanya Clausen over at Al Clausen Disposal, Rodney Morales, the president of our bank there this year, coming on board, helping us out. Dr. Graham over at the yourpersonalmd.net. She came on board this year to help us out. Georgetown Jewelry, I spoke so highly of Ricky Poe and his family. Georgetown Jewelry's network-wide sponsorship contribution of the studio naming rights, of Friday Football Friday, of AISD Thursday night. His major contribution has allowed the Jarrell broadcast to happen, another integral part. And that's what I talk about, Michael. We could not do what we do here on SHN and promote these kids without those community sponsors. And I talk about it a lot because they really are the ones that make what we do possible.
Absolutely. They believe in this program. They believe in what we do. And that's a product of what you've put out there and that they've had the opportunity to see. And they get excited about what they're seeing, and they want it to continue, and they want their kids to be a part of that as a community. It's outstanding to see these people come together. In Georgetown, a lot of these sponsors for all of these come right here out of Georgetown, Texas.
Well, hey, we're going to have a little bit of fun now. Steven's over here. He's just been sitting there like, when are they going to bring me on? like our old friend Leland said one time, he goes, that ought to wake everybody up. Steven's over here wondering, when are they going to wake me up?
Well, I'd love to be woken up, but actually, I got to go mow Coach Davidson's lawn.
That's right, yeah. Steven's coming over there, Coach. Well, Steven is here in studio. As we said earlier when he was off camera but talking to Shawn Clynch, Steven is the co-host, along with Justin Simmons, of our new 6-hour SHN Football Friday. He's got the shirts. Here's something cool, friends. If you want to win one of these cool shirts, Steven, turn around back too. We've got some.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, some sponsor. There's some sponsor logos back there. It's got our logo on the back as well, but, of course, the Oak Ridge Disciple House, Grand Endeavor Homes, Eagle Auto Parts there in Jarrell. They made our coverage possible as well. Right. The Georgetown Shirt Company, who made these shirts for us, Extraco Banks, Greg Eady here in Georgetown. Those sponsors that are on those shirts, if they contributed $1,000 or more, they got their logo on a shirt as long as they got it in time. And so I wanted to say thank you to all of those sponsors. And, of course, last but not least, Georgetown Jewelry, the headline sponsor of all of this. But that program going to be taking place. And if you want to win a shirt, trust me, we've got a lot of them. We're going to be handing them out at the stadiums here this season on week 1, 2, and 3, because we want you to send your content on game night. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, hashtag SHN Football Friday. I'll let Steven talk more about that here in just a few seconds. But if you would like a chance to win one of those shirts, and we have pretty much every size available, send us a text right now and say, I want one. Send the text right now. Now, if you're watching on the recorded stream, it's too late. But if you're live right now, send a text. Say, I want one. I want one.
Say, I want one.
I want one. 512-508-8388. I like the way that number sounds, Stephen. We talked about it.
It's great.
So, again, text right now, I want one, with an exclamation mark. 512-508-8388. We will send you a shirt if you're here in the Central Texas area. Now, if you're outside of Central Texas, don't bother sending a text.
If you don't include an exclamation point, then we're going to be forced to assume you don't actually want it. So.
And we're monitoring right now. And Stephen, that brings up a good point, though, about the SHN Football Friday program. Again, there's a bug crawling on me. Again, send a text message. I want one. 512-508-8388. What's cool on SHN Football Friday night, you can text that number and we will call you. Steven, talk about the show, man. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So we're going to go from 6 to midnight, the first hour-ish.
Just 1 week, right?
Every week.
Oh, my.
Every Friday, no matter what. We'll be having energy drinks all up in here. But, so the first hour will kind of be roughly a, intro to every week. We'll have some intros. We'll have some filler time. We'd love to hear. We'll probably call into some of the crews we have as they get set to call some games. We'll have, highlights and coverage for the Thursday night game that comes up. Do we have a text?
We do have a text. Someone wants one.
Let's go. Yeah, keep them coming. We got a lot of shirts to hand out.
We have a lot of shirts to give out.
But, yeah, we'd love to. But anyway, so hashtag SHN Football Friday, Twitter, Instagram. I'll be monitoring all of it live on the show. So we'll shout you out if you have any opinions on a team or their outlook for the season, especially for this first show. If you are at the fields, at the stadiums that have some games on these Friday nights that I won't be able to go to, but I'd love to see footage of. You can take clips, highlights, just any content that any viewers, any users, any people that want to contribute. Like, we'd love to have y'all contribute to all of that and shout you out for that contribution. For example, whoever texted us wanting a shirt, we'll send it to you.
Yeah, they said, I want one. And because you texted us, we're going to bring you onto the show. Who is this right now? Who is this?
Well, I'm new to it. My name is Desharia Bright.
Awesome.
Jarrell.
Hey, well, thank you for joining us, Desharia. I hope you didn't mind us bringing you on live.
I do. No.
Awesome. Well, who do you? Hey, well, we're going to make you feel comfortable. Who do you want to send a shout out to tonight in Jarrell, Texas? Come on.
Malik Davis. He's a freshman this year.
Awesome. Well, keep your text message open, and we will send you information on how we can get that shirt to you. And what was your name again?
Desharia Bright.
Desharia Bright. Awesome.
Shout out to Malik as well.
Shout out to Malik. Thank you for calling and enjoy Jarrell broadcast all season long here on SHN. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, see, when you text us, you may get a call also. Should we call one more? Thank you, Desir, for joining us. There was one other one that came in.
Yeah, he says, heck, I want one.
Let's call this guy real quick. We're just having a little fun here tonight.
Heck yeah, let's call him.
Let's see who this is tonight. If you send a text, you're going to get a call. So before we sign off here, we're having fun, Michael.
Right.
We're previewing football and we're calling people.
Yeah,
And they may not answer. If that's okay if you don't answer. Desiree answered, so she was ready to chat. We may not get a answer on this one, Stephen.
But regardless, we will send them a shirt.
We will send you a shirt. You don't have to answer. We're not going to put you on the spot.
Maybe we can start doing some of those "How big a boy are you?"
That's right. Or
calls.
RD Mercer calls. Well, hey, we'll send you a shirt. I know you may have not been able to pick up, but we will send you a shirt as well.
But yeah, just to touch more on this hotline.
Oh, it's Scotty. It's Scotty Martin. We'll send you a shirt, Scotty.
Shout out, Scotty. We'll get you a shirt for sure. But pointing out the hotline and everything, we won't ever answer it. So there's that. But we'll also be checking the voicemails that people leave us. We'd love to hear any input, any, like I said earlier, some opinions, some outlook. Everyone is a sports journalist in their head, and we'd love to hear what y'all have to say. There's a lot of hot takes and a lot of opinions out there about all these Central Texas teams, and we want to know it, and we want to know what's all going on. So we'll check our voicemails. We'll respond to texts. We'll send you a shirt right now. And we, if you want to get featured on our show live on Fridays during the 6 hours we're on, we'd be happy to do it. Shoot us a text, tell us your name, and we'll give you a call.
Awesome.
So Stephen, I've ridden around with Rob enough to know he, when he hears a song come on the radio, a lot of times he'll just ad lib and make his own rhyme and all that kind of stuff. Now
not as good as Stephen. But,
I understand that you're quite the rhyme artist as well.
Oh,
so
this is going a different direction.
So maybe we can expect to hear you bust out some rhymes.
Hey, you never know. Yeah,
Friday night.
I'd be happy to make that a part of it too. Yeah, I do rap a little bit. I do some music on the side, and any creative outlet I like to attack and do what I can with it. So I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it'd be fun to drop some Georgetown Eagle bars for the hype up this season.
And Steven's not just good; he is amazingly great. With a lot of what he's putting out has just been phenomenal, man.
I appreciate that.
Well, friends, we've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun here. Before we go, this is the season preview show here on SHN, as it is our second show on SHN Gridiron, of course, made possible by Georgetown Jewelry. You can visit Georgetown Jewelry online at georgetownjewelry.com, also located in the Williamsburg Village Shopping Center. Please go by and see. You thinking about getting married? Are you thinking about getting married? Go see Ricky. You want to get that gold chain? Go see Ricky. You got a gold watch? Go see Ricky.
You want 2 gold chains?
You want a silver watch? Go see Ricky. It ain't all gold. It's all everything there. Go by and see him, though. Seriously, friends. He truly, Ricky Poe, Georgetown Jewelry, has made so much possible this season. Even talking about the build-out of this studio, we needed funds for that. Some of those funds actually came from some of our sponsorship partners. So we wouldn't be in this studio. We wouldn't be able to bring this show. We wouldn't be able to bring SHN Football Friday. It took care of all of that, and we sincerely appreciate it, Ricky. You don't know how much we love you, man, and just many, many blessings, just tremendously. The Lord has blessed us through guys like Ricky, and we appreciate that. So
and all the broadcast equipment that you see behind us.
Yeah. I mean, this took forever to build this wall back here, all these screens. I don't even know. We've got about 60 screens back here that just show a bunch of random images.
Yeah, it goes back for about an acre back
there.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But, Michael, we've got some games. We want to preview what's going on. I'll let you talk a little bit about those before we sign off. A lot of action going on throughout Central Texas.
A lot of action, as you mentioned, and that starts tomorrow. Of course, most notably, it's the Taco Shack Bowl, which Stephen is definitely a part of. I believe you work at McCallum.
I do,
correct?
Yes, yeah.
So he has vested interest in that game.
I actually, now that you mentioned, I was talking to defensive lineman, offensive lineman today. He plays both sides of the ball. He said he's telling me yesterday he'll be playing the whole game. Wow. Not much rest. He's one of the top defensive linemen in the district. His name's Alvino Carbajal, but he's a senior this year. One of the main guys coming back for the Knights, and he was excited to just get back on the field and try to do what they did last year in the 21-20 contest.
Right, yeah, absolutely. It was a stinging loss for the Trojans, who controlled the game for most of the game and until the very end. And McCallum comes back with a surprise.
And it's not
victory.
the first time that's happened, in the past probably 10 years. I mean, even when I was a student there from 09 to 13, our senior year was the first time during my time there as a student that we had finally beat Anderson and we won the Taco Shack Bowl. But since then, I mean, McCallum's kind of been controlling the rivalry the last few years, and it's that's been cool. in a way that's like Anderson kind of seems like they got off to the hot start in the season because it's always the first game of the year, and then McCallum kind of figures things out in the fourth quarter and somehow pulls it out in the end. But yeah, that's I think what Shawn was saying even about Anderson. He's picking Anderson to win in a close game. I think that's totally fair.
Right.
It's almost always close and kind of comes down to like a last drive or defensive stop or whatever. So I expect it to be no different.
We'll be charging the batteries for that one. Michael, we're going to go over those, but I don't like to lie to people. That's what it really that's what there's our wall behind us.
No, that's just the sheet. Behind the sheet.
Yeah. So
it goes for days.
Yeah, so we're honest here. There you go, friends. This is how quick we can build a wall here at SHN. On the snap of my finger, boom, there you go.
Look at you go.
Anyways, we'll preview some more of these games, Michael, and then we'll sign off.
Well, last year, SHN broadcast that game. They're broadcasting this year. Last year it was Carl and our guest last week on the phone did the play-by-play, and that was
I was on the sideline last year too.
So we had that broadcast, and tomorrow we're also broadcasting Eastview versus Westwood.
That'll be you and Travis Banks. That'll be on the SHN network
at Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex. They're off of Parmer.
Live video.
Known as the Palace, and it will be live. And our Leander crew, they will be broadcasting as well. They'll be playing Weiss at AC Bible Stadium there in Leander.
Did you guys call in and reserve a spot at KRAC?
Doing it now.
I have not. I do not know if Travis has or not.
Yeah,
I can tell you Travis hasn't.
Yeah, first
we may be sitting in the stands. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. I forgot. First week jitters.
First week jitters.
We gotta call the school. Yeah, call them in the morning. Travis, call them tomorrow. Let them know we're coming.
Right, let them know we're coming. So Stony Point, Killeen, Texarkana at Hendrickson. So I mean, there's a big game right there. St. Michael's at Navarro Lanier. Academy at Charlotte. St. Mary Hall at TSD. Not exactly sure what that one is. And Friday is when it really comes in like a storm. And broadcasting here on SHN, Abilene Wiley versus Georgetown. Georgetown with their first ever meeting last year in Abilene versus Wiley, which Georgetown did win that game, and they look to continue that tomorrow night or Friday night there at the Georgetown Athletic Complex, or it's at the GISD Athletic Complex, Rob, formerly known as Birkelbach Field.
Mm-hmm.
So which I understand they're getting some changes there at that field as well, eventually, if not already. So I'm going to be free on Friday night, and I've been trying to figure out, what game do I really want to go to. And
hey, you should go to a different game every week and then call into my show.
It's like, do I go close by the house and go watch Vista Ridge and Rouse play, or do I go see Arlington Martin and Lake Travis play? There's going to be a great game right there. Arlington Martin, a storied program in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Or do I want to go watch Belton play at Westlake? Do I want to go down to Chaparral Field? And
so many choices, so many activities.
Right. I mean, it's
so
just
many
good. Good games. Liberty Hill is going to be at Glenn High School on Friday.
That's going to be great for Liberty Hill.
Liberty Hill last year nearly beat Hutto.
They did, yeah.
It was a last-second win for Hutto. If I remember correctly, it was an overtime win where they beat Liberty Hill.
So what you're saying is it's impossible to choose which game you're going to go
right.
to.
It's just kind of hard. Which one do I really want to go to?
Right.
My wife said, well, y'all will be playing New Braunfels Canyon next week. And Lehman is playing there this weekend. She said, why don't you go on Friday and see that game and scout it out? And I'm like, I don't think I want to drive to New Braunfels on a Friday evening through Austin traffic.
There's so many good games already in the area.
You know, you talk about Liberty Hill, and I believe it was Jerry Vance over there who just built an unbelievable, stellar program for so many years. And then coming over and the Walker brothers and Coach Jeff Walker, you got to admire those guys. You know, in a classification they are, I believe, at 4A, taking on bigger teams, that just helps them get that much better. And it's phenomenal what Liberty Hill has done, the Panthers. And, you know, maybe one day we can have – they're right next door to us. I always said we got to take care of our backyard first, and then we can take care of our neighbors. And here in Georgetown, we're working hard to take care of Georgetown, of course, and Eastview. And then we're bringing on some middle schools, actually. That's the next part of the growth plan and the strategy here. But then we want to take care of our neighbors. Liberty Hill's a neighbor right next door to us. Literally, they're the town right over.
I mean, you look Leander and Liberty Hill. I mean, Georgetown, if they keep growing the way they're going to all three grow into each other. Liberty Hill and Leander already are. So, I mean, it's just going to be a big football boomtown between those three schools. I was thinking about it today. You realize that Leander has grown so much. They actually have 3 high schools.
That's crazy.
In the Leander city limits. You have Leander, Tom Glenn, and Rouse High School. And they're looking to open another high school that's going to be off Ronald Reagan right around real close to Highway 29. So that's where Leander High School number 7 will eventually go. So it's just growing just tremendously out there in that direction. So in Georgetown, with its growth, is just booming.
Well, here's something exciting as we get close to signing off here tonight. I'm Rob Hipp, Michael Francis, Stephen Strong. We appreciate you joining us. Some exciting things. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Do that first and foremost. You'll stay up to date with the latest here on SHN Sports, as we will broadcast SHN Football Friday every Friday night here on the SHN Sports Network, live from the Georgetown Jewelry Broadcast Studio. We'll have AISD Thursday Night Football presented by Georgetown Jewelry tomorrow night. We'll probably start around 7:20. We'll bring the most comprehensive coverage in Central Texas of that game. Don't miss it. And our friends at FanStan, we know that they'll be out there in full force with their eye reporters taking care of business as well. We were talking to Shawn earlier, and I wanted to give a special shout-out. He was naming folks throughout Central Texas, and I'm just going to be honest, nobody, and I mean nobody, does it better in Central Texas than Snoop Daniel and FanStan ATX, and we are always going to support those guys. And that was something that when we launched SHN Football Friday, I wanted to make it very known that we definitely aren't trying to interfere or do anything with what those guys do on their radio program during those same hours. Flip back and forth. You know, there's going to be plenty of content, but my goodness, Casey Johns, Snoop Daniel, those guys do such a spectacular job, and we love them dearly, and we love what they do for the kids, man.
Oh, yeah, what they do for the kids is just incredible, aside from just the eye reporters that they've had. And they've had some great ones over the years. I know that we had one at, I believe her name was Mandy at Rouse, that she actually went to a different school, but she was an eye reporter for Rouse High School for several years, an outstanding young lady. But the things that they do, they bring kids in the studio to their broadcast studio and interview their kids there, and with their along with their eye reporters. It's just some really good things that that ATX FanStan does for the kids in the Central Texas area.
And it's important, and it's all part of a system. Like I said, just a pendulum, if you will, or a will, if you will, to continue to bring exposure to these kids here in Central Texas. That's what we're about. We talked about some of the games. This is everything going on tomorrow and Friday and Saturday here in Central Texas. We'll have Hutto on the broadcast as well on Saturday. Todd Robinson with the Hutto Hippos will be broadcasting Hippo Nation. That game will have live video. All of our other games, audio only. Some of them will have video afterwards. This year, Jarrell is specifically audio only. We're not going to do video of those. And then Eastview will have delayed video as well. It may take a little bit longer this year to get that video up. We're experimenting with a new way to get that. But, Michael, what a fun night. Steven, Thank you, man. Plug SHN Football Friday one more time, man.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I was also going to say on the YouTube subscription, I think there's a YouTube thing where when you subscribe, you'll obviously know about, you'll follow us, but there's a little bell icon, and once you click that, you'll be notified once we go live. I just know there's a lot of things that I've wanted to follow on YouTube, and then I forget that I even subscribed, and then I miss out on some things or see them late or whatever. But that little bell icon can kind of notify our viewers when we go live for certain things or whatever, and that could be good. And yeah, hashtag SHN Football Friday. It's on the shirt. Text us if you want one. 512-508-8388 is the number.
Wow.
And
is that it?
That's it. I promise. I got it down.
508-8388.
503-8888.
What I thought he was about to say when he says you hit that subscribe button, you get a free T-shirt.
Yeah. No. Don't
you can say that for a second.
Yeah. We'll maybe end up losing that.
We'll tune in on Friday to see what I happen to give out to everyone. So, how much trouble it can get us in. But no, I'm just kidding. We're excited for it, and we're just 2 days less than that now. So.
Well, every week we'll have more guests here on the show. We'll even try to talk to some kids throughout the week as well. Steven on SHN Football Friday, not this week, but starting up in the coming weeks, we'll have his strong moment of the week. That'll be exciting as he'll talk about players or those off the field that are making a huge impact.
So the idea behind that is that I want to do a Strong's Spotlight of the Week, whether it's a member of the color guard, the band, the dance team, anyone involved in Friday night football, everything that goes along with that. I would love to hear some stories of something off the field. If you want to nominate anyone, I would love to hear it. You can text us at that number, 512-508-8388. You can also tweet to at SHN Sports or to me directly at Probably Strong is my Twitter handle. And I would love to be able to. I think there's so many stories to tell in each individual, just as a human, but especially at the high school age. And I think there's a lot of things that kind of don't get the recognition or the praise or the attention that it deserves. There's a lot of kids doing a lot of cool things or overcoming a lot of things. That age is just tough. I know it firsthand. And to be able to kind of do a little spotlight, a 5 to 10 minute segment, I'll go out and I can interview whoever, but I would love to get some nominations for, who you think deserves that. So I could shout them out too on air. Yeah.
And anytime you need to contact us, of course, as Steven said, that number, I put it on the bottom right part of your screen, text it or call it and leave a voicemail. We will never, ever, ever answer that number.
Not answering.
We will never answer it, but we will definitely listen to your voicemails and your text messages. In fact, if you call it, it's funny because Steven will say, it's something like, don't leave a message. We're not going to call you back, or we'll never answer it. You know what I'm saying? Leave a message, text us. We will call you back.
We're late. Very nice people. Yeah. We want to hear from you.
We'll just never answer it if you call it. Okay?
We'll call you.
Never ever. And that's the thing too. If you want to talk to us live on the show, text us
your name,
and we'll call you back. Thanks.
Yeah, we just want the control. That's all it is.
Well, hey, one final thought too, friends. Besides SHN Gridiron here on Wednesday nights, besides SHN Football Friday on Friday nights, the most comprehensive coverage in Central Texas, we are also proud to announce the SHN Sports Player of the Week presented by Georgetown Jewelry. Our SHN selection committee every week will select one outstanding player that's on the SHN broadcast network. He'll be presented with that award every week. Ricky Poe at Georgetown Jewelry will present the majority of those awards. They are the presenting sponsor. That player will get a plaque and a nice engraved thing there stating he is the Georgetown Jewelry Player of the Week. So excited about that, man. We have so much going on. Again, it's all about bringing exposure to these kids in Central Texas. For the first time, I won't be starting a Georgetown season, and I'm sad about that, but I'll be on a jet plane going to is that what the song is? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like a 50-minute flight to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Honored and privileged to broadcast Sam Houston State Bearcat football this season. And so I'll miss about half of the Georgetown games. But Steven, Justin will be holding it down here in the studio. Francis and Travis holding it down over at Eastview. Brad Tillery, Carl Schoening, Kelly Duvall holding it down at AISD.
I think
you're doing Georgetown.
Yeah,
they're doing Georgetown.
Thursday night games.
And Southwestern.
Yeah. We'll help everybody out.
Well, Michael, before we go, final thoughts, man.
Here it is. It's week 1, high school football back in Texas, and we'll be busy for at least the next 16 weeks or so, broadcasting high school football and continuing to bring Friday night football to for 6. I don't think we'll be doing it for 6 hours once we're in the playoffs, but you can't ever tell.
Maybe I'll just do it myself for 6 hours.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, it's something we look forward to. Obviously, we get tired by the end of the season, but gosh, it's like the first of the season comes. I can't wait to get started again.
Yeah,
can't wait to get doing it again. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about tomorrow night and the opportunity to do the Eastview Patriots. You formerly worked with Travis and worked the Georgetown Eastview games, and I'm stepping up from Jarrell to the Patriots, and so kind of following after you, I guess.
A little bit, yeah.
Both you and Rob, y'all worked Jarrell, and I don't know, you haven't had the opportunity to have a headset thrown, but
that'll come. Just
me and your former broadcast partner,
Leshman.
We have that distinguished honor.
Hey, real quick before we go, because we said text us your name, we'll call you. Who is on the phone? None other than Doppler Dave. What's going on, weatherman?
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Good, man. What's going on, brother?
Dude, what a great show. How much fun is this? Decals with Dads, then we get to call in to SHN Gridiron show. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's great. And it's always great to have you be a part of it, David.
Well, I'll be bringing in those, the sideline weather reports during the game, stuff like that when Kelly and Brad and Rob need them. So,
Hey, well, we're excited, man. And, Dave, you'll be down there with us tomorrow for the Taco Shack Bowl. I may just throw that sideline microphone to you and let you take it away. You seem to enjoy that, man.
Oh, I tell you what, it's going to be fun being down there with you, the legend Rob Hipp, and getting to run around and see some good football. It was great to see to listen to Shawn's expectations for the game and then Strong's expectations for the game. So that's it's got me pretty pumped up. I'm ready to run through a brick wall here at the fire station. So,
hey, I got a question for you, David. If
yes, sir, Michael.
If Granger makes the playoffs, you can be ready to go do some broadcasting with Puddin'?
You count on it. You count on it. That was, Michael, that was so much fun getting to do color commentary with you and Puddin'. that was a trip. It was so much fun, and I just love what you're talking about, and I echo those sentiments about the small-town football and Friday Night Lights and the whole town shutting down, everybody being out at the football game. It's just the way it should be. This is Texas, and that's only in Texas can you do that, and that's just good stuff. Small town football is where it's at.
Well, I grew up in a small town, Godley, Texas. It's just south of Fort Worth by about 30 miles, and we were the Godley Wildcats. A population of 684 was a 1A classification at the time.
Are you saying Godley or Gottlieb?
Godley, Godley.
That's awesome.
And we were the Godley Wildcats, and Friday night would come along, and the town would shut down. And
I can still remember going to the Manor football games with my dad. Growing up, Manor was 2A back then, and it was a big deal when the helicopters would land at the football field. And Mike Barnes and the fellows would come out and they'd get some film and fly off to another football game. But my dad, I can remember still to this day walking up to the stadium and he'd be humming the fight song. He'd be so excited and just pumped up and punching me on the shoulder and, getting excited about going and getting some cheap hot chocolate and nachos with cheese. And
that's the best.
You could see the haze of the Marlboro Reds over the wooden bleachers in Manor, Texas. And
right.
Now it's Manor New Tech, and the field is blue, and the whole thing is blue. It's a completely different stadium over there now that Manor moved across up 973. So But anyway.
And New Tech is 3A school.
Yeah, they're in Jarrell's district.
They're in Jarrell's district.
This will actually, I believe, be their second year.
Yeah, so
as a
cool.
program.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to see that they've taken over the old Manor High School. It's Manor New Tech, and everything's blue. It's like, what in the world? Because but growing up, it was Go Big Red, and it's still Go Big Red out there, with Wham Nation and now it's Go Big Blue, just like Georgetown. So
there you go, man.
And Jarrell.
Well, David, looking forward to tomorrow night. Now, you're going to have a family member, not the SHN family, but an actual blood family member down there. Talk a little bit about your sister, Tia, man. We are so excited to have her at that game.
Yeah, Tia's going to make her inaugural debut, and she's going to do some sports writing for SHN tomorrow night, and she's done some research on the Taco Shack Bowl, and she's going to write up a little article for you for the website and just add more content and like those layers that you keep talking about. We keep adding for these youngsters and promoting these kids. So she's excited to throw her name in the hat and help out and contribute to the SHN family. So it's going to be fun having her writing an article, and it's going to be neat to read that article.
Well, hey, and David, thanks to the generous support that I've mentioned all night of so many sponsors, such as Georgetown Jewelry, Minuteman Press, who came on board today as well, all of our friends in Jarrell, our bank, Extraco Banks here in Georgetown, and then Frost Bank, who is making some things possible now, which we're excited about that. I am proud to announce that we can bring Galen Welnicki back to SHN again this season. Did not want to leave him out. And we were a little bit worried financially, but we did have some sponsors come on that has now made that a reality. So it'll be awesome to have Pawpaw, Galen Welnicki. We love you, Galen. He will be back. And Galen makes that noise. Galen will be back this year writing articles for Georgetown and possibly Southwestern. So he won't be on the microphone as much, but he will be writing and providing stats. Really, nobody does it better than Galen. We're so honored and blessed to have him.
Oh, you talk about
yeah, Rob. That's huge because he's just his insight and his stats, are second to none. I mean, he's so good at that. That's his strong point right there. He's really good at that. It's neat.
Awesome. Well, David, we appreciate you. Any final comments before we let you go, buddy?
Oh, I'm so excited. Football's finally here. We went. The last play I saw last season was that sophomore quarterback at the time throwing the Hail Mary to win the 6A state title. And, to the last play of the game, I'm looking forward to seeing what the first play is tomorrow night at Taco Shack Bowl. If it's going to be a kickoff return for a touchdown, who knows? It's going to be exciting, and it's just fun to see these kids out on the football field again. And some of them will never play again in their lives, and some of them are trying to get recruited. So, anyway, shout out to my wife, and then Joy, and then my daughter Emily, the iReporter for Georgetown for FanStan ATX, and then Presley. So.
Awesome. And we will see you, I guess we talked about tomorrow around 4 o'clock. We'll be down there, man.
Bright and early, 4 a.m. I'll be there.
4 a.m. Well, that's about what time you probably get moving, man, to be honest, Yeah. So, well, David, we appreciate you, man, and all that you do, my friend. Thank you so much. Any final questions for Mr. England?
Go to bed.
telling us to go to bed. We were going to sign off an hour ago, but we're not on anybody's time here, So
I tell you, all you're missing is a cooler of refreshments.
Hey, there we go. This man's speaking facts.
Factual evidence here tonight on
Getting
SHN.
a little dehydrated over here. Right?
Man, and I was trying to do something, David, before we let you go, and of course I didn't have this new system set up. And I literally just saw a grandma on Twitter making buckets after buckets, and now I can't find it. That's just the way it goes, David. I'm talking about bad. Oh, there she is. David, you still there? I think we lost it. Oh, you know what? I lost him because I hung up on him. Sorry, David. I had to restart the computer, man. Anyways, friends, we appreciate you joining us. We are going to make one last-ditch effort call here because you know why? Check this out, though. This is what I was talking about. This lady is just lighting it up, man. Yes. I know it's football, but it's always basketball season, baby.
Civilo Steel, right?
There you go, baby.
Principal for Civilo.
Yeah, it's tearing it up. That is awesome. So Dr. Dish there.
Put her on the team, man.
Hooping it up tonight. That coming off of Twitter. David Canfield out of Georgetown messaging that. We are going to make one last phone call now. I have no idea who this is, but they said they wanted a shirt. And so I'm going to call this number before we sign off. If they answer, it's 10:30 at night, and we will see if they answer here. We'll give it just a couple of seconds, and we'll see if they're there on the line. Who are we speaking with? You sent us a text saying you wanted a shirt. Hope you didn't mind us calling.
Yes, sir.
Who are we speaking?
Stephen McQuaid.
Stephen McQuaid. Hey, well, thank you for joining us. Where are you calling out of?
Georgetown.
Out of Georgetown. Awesome. And it was Stephen.
Yes, sir.
Stephen McLean.
McQuaid.
All righty, man. Well, hey, how did you find us tonight on the broadcast?
I subscribe to you guys, and I hit the little bell, and
Nice.
it pops up, and I listen to you guys all the time.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate that, Stephen. I hope you didn't mind us calling you either. You know, if you text us, we may call you, man. That's just how it goes here on SHN, man.
Oh, that's all good.
Well, hey, we'll get that shirt over to you in a text message. I'll ask for your address. We'll go over there and deliver that sometime in the next week and get it over to you.
Thank you.
And, again, appreciate you. I'm assuming a Georgetown or Eastview fan? Georgetown Eagle. All right. Did you go to high school in Georgetown?
No, I didn't, but my kids all go to school here.
Awesome, man. So they're in the they're in the pipeline then, maybe on their way to Georgetown High School?
Yeah, I've got one son. He's a freshman football player on the team.
Awesome, man. Okay. Well, Steve, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for being a faithful listener and a watcher. If you've heard on the show all day or all night tonight, we're all about promoting these kids, and we sincerely appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Keep up good work.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too.
Well, that was Mr. Stephen McQuaid. So that is awesome. So awesome. We appreciate you joining us, Stephen, and thank you for the EFND support, man. That's what it's all about here. So we will finally sign off. That's what I love about this show. We can ramble on. We don't have to worry about anybody telling us we're out of airtime. That's what I love about it. So
that's the greatness over radio.
That is, man. And that's why we do what we do, and we're not going to ramble anymore. And that's the end of it, friends. For Stephen Strong, Michael Francis, I'm Rob Pitt, and all of our wonderful SHN family live tonight from the SHN Sports here on YouTube out of the Georgetown Jewelry Broadcast Studio. I want to wish you well. Reminding you tonight, friends, we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. As always, good night, and God bless from Georgetown, Texas. We will catch up with you Thursday, Friday, and Saturday right here on SHN. Good night, everyone.